I think we are live, Calvin.
All right.
Let me make sure that the feed is showing. Yep, looks like we're live. Looks like we're live.
It's all right.
Yes, sir. So how you doing?
Good today.
Good, good, good. So
Yeah.
to my Facebook audience and to everybody that's joining in on this live today, I am here with a living legend out of Detroit. Well, I should say by way of, are you originally from Cleveland?
Yeah.
You're originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
The one and only Calvin Cooke, who now is in Atlanta, Georgia. I am so happy, Calvin, that you are live with me today. How
Thank
you
you.
doing? How
Glad
you
to
doing?
be here. Excellent.
It's good to see you.
Same here.
I know it's a lot going on, but we're here.
We hanging in there, man.
We're hanging.
Yeah.
It is so much going on right now, and man, I think all we can do is pray, vote.
Yes.
Do some of the things that we seen the generation before us. You guys laid the example, for us. I don't want to give your age, but you've been around for quite some time, and you looking good. How old are you?
76 now.
76 years young, everybody.
Yeah.
And he's looking great, and you're still here with us. And Calvin, you see what's going on. Tell me what's going on in your mind. What do you think about what you're seeing?
That reminds me of 1967 when I first went to Detroit.
Okay.
Got a job at Chrysler my first day there.
Wow.
That night, the town was burning. So they let us out early, and I had to, on my way home, got stopped by the police.
Wow.
In front of the house. They said I was burning said I was on top of a roof, sniping. And Deacon McKee and his wife came out and said, this man just got here. And he just come from Chrysler. They put me in jail. And my uncle.
The first night.
Huh?
The very first night. Wow.
Yeah. Then my uncle, who knew the judge, then back then it was a lot of big nicks. And they had a street called Plum Street with a lot of hippies and selling different things. So they arrested a lot of them too. And so Deacon McKee and them called my uncle. He knew the judge there in Detroit. Right. And they came and got me out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was afraid, but one of the beatniks at that time was talking about the Lord, that don't be afraid, and the Lord works things out for us, and it's just a lesson. I never forgot that, and I never seen him again, but it was crowded in there, and Deacon McKee and them came and got me out, and the judge also let the rest of them out because the police couldn't prove what they put us in there for.
Right. Wow.
So I see the same thing been going on for years and years, and nothing is really never done about it. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. Wow. And back then, they realized a lot of kids from the suburbs of Southfield and all those different areas outside of Detroit they were helping with the fires, looting, but they put it all on the blacks. But those kids went back to the suburbs like nothing happened. But if they caught one of them, then they wouldn't report them.
Wow.
They just only reported us to make us, So I've been seeing the same thing go over and over, and then nothing's never really done.
Wow.
As far as I'm concerned.
It's amazing to even just to hear you talk about it and to know that this is nothing new.
Yeah.
This is nothing new, and you've lived this. You've lived it. You went to jail.
Yeah.
Being falsely accused.
They had prostitution going on in certain neighborhoods, and they were trying to get the neighborhood people there and put them in jail, and they decided that they would post whoever they catch to embarrass them. But then they wind up getting all the several executives who come from surrounding areas. They were the one who was supplying the prostitute. Very few black men, but mostly white. And then when they start realizing that that's who they were catching, then they start posting it. They let it go. Yeah.
Wow.
So I see the same thing. Then I look there where you have a peaceful protest going on. Then you got a lot of other people come from surrounding areas, create the crime, along with us also, but they only report us and not them. But now I see they're doing it a little differently now. They're shaming them and letting you know it's not just only us, it's a mixture. So I feel good about that. At least they're letting the world know it's not only just black people. And you see that for yourself.
That's right. It's right. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Man. So much history, so much we're gonna talk a lot about different things. We have our guitars.
Yeah.
Go ahead, let them hear a little something, Calvin. Just tease them with a little something.
Man, I done got so old now till my hands getting weak.
Whatever. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm still trying to hang with y'all a little bit. I know I'm fading more and more.
And listen, oh man, listen. I'm sure it's a bunch of fans of a bunch of folks that know Calvin Cooke and know what Calvin Cooke is about. That's the sound. That is the sound. Calvin, you're probably the only musician alive that has gone through probably what 3, 4 administrations. You with me, Calvin? I think did we lose him?
4 chief overseers, except Mother Town. I'm still here.
Okay, there we go. Say that again.
Okay. I'm been playing for 4 generations. I mean, for Bishop Keith, Jenkins, Elliott, and Bishop Fletcher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell just a little bit. How did you get started? When did it all start for you?
Actually, in Cleveland.
Okay.
Our family split from the Jewel Dominion.
Okay.
And I didn't know the reason or why. And Elder Hodge was our pastor.
Okay.
And then Bishop Keith sent Bishop Harrison down.
Okay.
To check on us. Since we had left the Jewel and went to the Keith Dominion.
Okay.
I knew nothing about the Keith Dominion.
Wow.
Because all I knew was about Jewel. That's where I was raised up at.
Right.
All I knew was Lorenzo music, that band. I thought was Harrison. One of the best band that I could ever hear.
Okay.
At that time. And then Elder Hodge, we were in a storefront. They had no music. So she bought a guitar and they gave it to me. I went I'd never played before. So I went in the room, the kitchen, and got a knife and started trying to play it with a knife. And my mother said, he's not gonna play this. And plus I was much, much shorter. And then my cousin, Maynard, my cousin Maynard got the guitar. His fingers was long enough because he was tall, and he started learning how to play that. Then my mother went to the pawn shop and got me a Rickenbacker 6-string. And that's when I started learning how to play and already knew how to tune it. Well, back then they called it Vasicute. So we started learning how to play like that. And then back then, you know, we had those tapes. Before the tapes, we had to remember. And so we go here. We still went to Jewel church and visit because we had a hard time transitioning. And then half my family was there. And so I would go visit them, and then we hear Lorenzo, Harvey, and Bishop Burns on the drum. Harvey was the lead player, so all the lead players that you hear play now, well, that's where Harvey Jones is the one who started that lead, because that's what he played behind Lorenzo Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when I started learning, that was in 56, I believe.
Man.
Then in 57, Bishop Harrison came. We had a lot of games in Cleveland. So when we come out of school for the summer, Bishop Harrison asked, could me and Maynard go with him for the summer?
Okay.
And so Bishop Harrison's son, Starling, you remember him?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Starling played steel and lead. At that time, I played steel and lead. Maynard played bass and lead. And so we teamed up and we practiced. And our first stop was in Kentucky. Oh, I can't think of the name of the town. Little town in Kentucky. And we would play there. And that's how we started learning how to play on the road.
Wow.
So Bishop Harrison said, well, you know, this will help y'all out. And that kept us out of trouble. And so back then, he ran revivals, fixed churches. We would help fix churches. We would help set up the tent. This is a matter of time now. We would put up the tents. And then during Bishop Keith's time, me, Walter Wooding, James Wooding, let's see, I was on steel and lead.
Okay.
Starling and I would switch up. And then Maynard would be on bass. Walter Wooding would play piano. And James Wooding would play drums. And we were the band for the assemblies down here in Georgia.
What years was this?
This might have been 68.
Man.
I mean, not 68, but 58.
Wow.
58 and 59.
Wow.
And we would play from Barnesville to all over. Back then, they had churches all over Georgia, but they had 5 bishops that have an assembly at the same time in one place.
Okay.
And so that's how we started.
So everyone that is watching right now on Facebook, whether you've seen Calvin live, you've seen him in church, wherever you've met Calvin, if you know Calvin, we're getting a history lesson on not only how he started playing, but the fact that he built tents.
I'm losing you.
Did y'all hear that? He built tents before he actually went in. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Okay. So Calvin, they built tents before they actually had service. Calvin just didn't show up with his guitar and just strike and the other band members striking up a tune. They were working.
Right. Well, a lot of times, every year, this was an ongoing thing when we were teenagers. And we would go to Dania, Florida. I remember this so well that Bishop Harrison was the carpenter by trade. So wherever they had churches that need fixing, they would call him and we would go with him. And we would, then he built churches. And like in Augusta, we would build a certain part of the church. Dania, he would fix the roof. And I remember Ella Bynes would fix those Garcia sausage and rice. And we get that. And then,
sir.
At night, we would play for the service. So I never forgot that. And then in Alabama, we would help set up the tent, place the chairs, and play for it, the revival every night. They would leave it up for about a week. We'd play there a week, take the tent down, and clean up the place, and go to the next place. We would do that all summer long.
Wow.
And then when he had to go and build, Bishop Keith and them asked him to go and build a church. Not build a church, but build a certain part onto it. Okay. We'd go help them, and we would have to carry the cinder blocks. Back then, they used a lot of cinder blocks. And we would carry them. He showed us how to make up the mud. He said he would pay us like he was the regular people, but we never did get it, but we did it anyway. And but we learned a lot. We learned a lot about trade, about the church. Back then, the church was so spiritual and strong that at night, Wednesday was like a Sunday. Friday night was like a Sunday. Yeah. When Sunday came, it was like a blowout.
It was heaven.
Yeah.
It was heaven. It was heaven. Wow.
Yes.
So for those of you that are watching right now, if you would, if you like what you're hearing, share this feed, start a watch party on your page, and just let everyone know that Calvin, the legend, the living legend, Calvin Cooke, is live with me tonight. And he is dropping some nuggets. He's dropping history on how he started, what he did. There are a lot of young musicians that follow you, Calvin, that follow both of us. And I really, I know that you have so much wisdom to share. There are a lot of things inside and outside of church as far as being a musician that I'm sure that you can impart to them. Anything you want to share with a lot of these young musicians that are coming up?
Well, I know coming up, we learn how to fast.
Somebody type that. Type that in the note.
I knew, well, coming up then, being around Bishop Keith, first, we got to know her real close. Okay. Because we played for her. And then first I was afraid of her, because when you look at her and look in her eyes, it's like she's looking through you. And it was hard to just look at her. You turn your head, but then we got used to her and found out she was funny. She was serious. And there were times where she just hold a regular conversation with us. During that time, I found out that her son, Prop, she would have him to take us to a store there in Chattanooga where she had a card or credit, and let us buy what we wanted. Then later on down the line, I found out that she was sending our mothers money for us playing. We really didn't need money because we had everything we wanted on the road. And then playing for her and being around her, we would ask her to pray for our hands. And one day, I think we were in Barnesville.
Okay.
And we were playing, and I remember her asked me to get up and go in the room. I thought I had done something wrong or something, which we might have. And when I got in the room, I heard Bishop Harrison, Bishop Fletcher, at the time, Man Fletcher, some elders that would come down from New York. They all anointed my hands and everything. And after that, looked like it was a difference, because she said she saw something different in me. And I didn't realize at the time how deep that thing was. Wow. And then a lot of times, Starlin, Maynard, and I would get up, and when they have prayer, we get in line and go get our hands prayed for and whatnot. So after that, I started learning before I go to the General Assembly or an assembly. I would learn how to fast, and I would go on a 3 days fast. I can't do it now like I used to, but back then I'd go on a 3 days fast, and that God would just bless me to be humble, just to play, whatever he felt. And God bless us. But then there was one time I was on the road with Bishop Harrison, and people would tell me every day or every time we played, "Oh, you boys played good." So we had left Georgia, got to Knoxville.
Okay.
Bishop Harrison had assembly in Alcoa.
Okay.
So we were playing, and the people wasn't shouting like we were used to.
Okay.
And in my mind, I said, "What's wrong with these people? We playing our heart out." And that was my attitude. Wow. Like I got the big head that I knew we were playing. And I can't remember the preacher's name. Old lady come up to me during the offering time.
Okay.
She said, "Calvin, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but don't get exalted."
Wow.
Don't get the big head.
Wow.
And boy, looked like, man, and several other stuff she told me. Man, looked like I broke down and I couldn't hardly play that day. And from then on, I vowed I'll never let that happen to me again, because you don't know who God has who could sense where you are mentally and physically. Because back then, people would come and tell us, some would say, "Oh, you played beautiful, this and that." And then you got some people out there that you don't realize who listen to music and would tell you, "You missed this," or "You didn't do that right." Or they would say, "I don't like your music," and who they like and whatever. So we had to live through that. And then I remember Bishop Harrison said, "These are the things that help you to grow. If they don't like your music, you don't dislike them for it. You pray and ask God to bless you even stronger and make you better, because you take those things and use them to make you more spiritually stronger in what you're doing. You're not going to please everybody.
That's right.
Everybody's not going to like your music or like you. Some will claim they'll like you, but they will not.
They won't.
Just want to be friends with you. And the more you grow, the worse things get for you, but you have to be strong. And so we had to learn those lessons from Bishop Keith, Bishop Harrison. And then when we got with Bishop Jenkins, he was more on the educational side of telling us, get your education. If you play music, get your education in music and whatnot. So each one of them had something that they contribute to us. So I was just blessed from a kid. I grew up with a lot of generations where some kids come up now and say, "Calvin, my mother used to talk about you, my grandmother." I said, "Who's your grandmother?" Then I realized, okay, we grew up together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is amazing. I hope everyone that is listening and watching, that you're I don't know if you're taking notes or if you're just gleaning from the wisdom that Calvin is sharing right now and all the history that he's sharing right now with us. This is rich. This is very rich in a day where in a day that we're going through the things that we're going through. It's amazing that our instrument it's really funny. Predominantly, you see a lot of when most of Americans seen steel players, especially pedal steel players. They likened it to country music and even Hawaiian music.
Yeah.
But to take this instrument that I'm talking to Calvin Cooke, who's one of the legends of the instrument in the House of God, wherever established, Church of the Living God, wherever it's established. Calvin is one of the ones that has been there since day one. And he said, what, four administrations? Yeah. This is so much history that you have, and the wisdom that you're sharing with us today is priceless. And I just want to admonish all of the young musicians out here, glean off of what he's saying. A lot of what we do, we think we're doing something, but I don't think even some of us as ministers and preachers, when you have to travel somewhere, build a tent, build a sanctuary in which you're going to teach and play in for that particular week or that particular weekend or for however long that they were there, to do all of this work and yet be accomplished and anointed, it speaks volumes. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I know we lost a brother. I lost a mentor. You lost a brother.
Yeah.
Probably like a son to you. Darick Campbell was, man, I don't want to even start talking about him because I might get a little emotional about it, because he was that guy to the younger, I should say the younger guys in my generation, because Darick was kind of a big brother. Darick was the guy who kind of handed off, if you will, when it came down to being the General Assembly drummer.
Yeah. I
Darick
remember
was the
those
guy
days.
who came after. Yeah, that Darick. A lot of people don't remember when Darick was the General Assembly drummer. Doing right after or during the time where Dillard was playing and Darick Campbell, and that's when I came along. And I learned, I gleaned under Darick and watched him even as a steel player. So we share so much history with that, and he is so missed. Do you have any stories, or do you know what are your fond memories of Darick?
We traveled together and toured together in Europe. We had a lot of fun playing together here. Jen and I, and the Campbell brothers, we all toured together, playing all over Europe. We were in, I want to say, Holland.
Okay.
And the people that the show we was playing for that night took us out to dinner, if I'm not mistaken. And they told us that they wanted to hear our music in person because they were studying teaching the Keith doctrine in Holland at the college. And they were trying to teach the music, but they wanted to come and hear the music exactly themselves in its true form. And I've never forgotten that our music had got all over Europe, where they start coming out, and Darick, boy, he cut up.
Really?
He cut up, boy. When his time come to play, he showed out for it. Yeah, and everywhere else that we went, and with the Slide Brothers and different places. So we had a close relationship. Matter of fact, the 2 weeks before he died, he called me to check on me, see if how I was doing, if I needed anything, and to let him know. And I just had a tough time with that because I couldn't believe this happened to him.
I know.
So we always talked, and then we traveled a lot here in the States together, playing with the Slide Brothers. And that was so much fun, eating, laughing, talking, joking. And it's just such fond memories of us being together. It's like one thing about this church coming up, I was more closer to them than some in my family. And that's how we came up together, because we slept together, talked together, share hurt things together, personal things together, and whatnot. And he'll be surely missed because he was more like a brother to me. Because there are times when I was younger, I would spend Christmas with them, and then they would come to my house and stay a week or so, a few days, and whatever they wanted to. And that's the way it was. And I do the same with them.
Wow, that's incredible. Alexis is in the comments, and she wanted to let you know that she has something for you. And she sent her love to you. Tell
her I send my love, and I'm sorry I couldn't reach her to tell her about her father, but I am so grateful to her for that. Tell her thank you so much.
I will. I'll make sure after we get off live, I'll connect you too. I'll make sure you're connected.
Okay. All right. Good.
But yeah, we have so many memories of Darick, with Darick, and it's something that will never be forgotten. A lot of the young musicians, it was amazing how many musicians, the last time I was talking to Robert last week,
Yeah.
and how many people reached out, and we just started sharing fond memories of just how it was. You know, when we were growing up, I mean, I'll tell you, when I was growing up in the church, and I said it when I was talking to Robert, and you said it earlier, all we had was our ears. All, you know, we would just listen.
Yes.
We would listen to what you guys did. You know, Nashville was the pinnacle place where things happen. And when you guys lay stuff down in Nashville, we went back home to our hometowns, trying to emulate, trying to, you know, hang on to those nuggets that we learned in that short 2-week time that we were with you guys in Nashville. And that's something that I miss. I miss that. And I'll tell you, a lot of young musicians don't realize how much of a legacy that was for us.
I'm going to tell you, a lot of people may not know it, but Ted and I used to play the General Assembly together. We back up each other before musicians come in.
Wait. You backed up. Okay, so when you say you backed up, so Ted would play.
He would play steel that night, and I would back him up.
Wow.
On my steel.
Wow. So y'all played together, two legends in a General Assembly playing together.
Playing together, and then when the weekend comes, other musicians come in, because then we never missed none of the sessions. And this is what we would do. Work together. And then before that, I'm going to tell you who the big drummers were. Elder Robinson out of Rochester, New York, and Price, Reverend Price. They were the two big drummers back then when I was young, because we would used to play and take the music from the church to the tent, back to the church every day.
Wow.
Then when Ted came, things changed. Him and I started trading off every night.
Okay.
And that was one of the best times to me, because when he got through playing, I would go home and say, oh my goodness, how in the world can I go behind this man and play the next night?
Right.
Actually, it would get me, you know?
Right.
And I try to pray. And then my mother said, look, you just do the best you can with what God gives you. But it still didn't work. But it would go away once I sat down and played. And then God would bless me. But then the next night, Ted come back, say, man, how did this guy do it? And we did like that for years. And that was one of the best times. I miss those days where him and I played like that with each other. And man, that was one of the best times I've ever had.
Yeah.
And because then when he played stuff, I listened at a certain thing that I like. And then I would try to copy it, but then I would change it into my way and play it. But then I would wait, and he would do the same thing. There was certain times we would wait. When a spiritual time comes, God give you a tune during that time, something to play. And it's like God just worked with you while you playing at that time. And I miss that. I miss being encouraged. And he was one of those big guys that I was really encouraged to play behind when it come my time to play, because he encouraged me and made me want to play.
Wow.
It's like playing basketball, like maybe LeBron James or somebody like that, and you want to match him, then it's the way we played. I want to be just as good as he was or better. You know, so he pushed me to play and to fast, that God would bless me, but in the humble way that we worked together and we got along with that.
Man, this is rich.
I don't see that anymore. I don't hear that anymore.
But you know,
I don't.
I'm glad they're hearing it from you. I'm glad they're hearing it from you because, you know, where we live in a day where a lot of musicians, a lot of singers, and I would even dare say preachers for that matter, is the animosity that goes on. You know, this is my way of doing things. This is our way of doing things, and to be able to share a platform, or share a service, and share your gifts to back each other up. Like I want a lot of you guys, especially my sacred steel pickers and just my fellow musicians who who know other good musicians, like Ted and Calvin played together.
Yeah.
Like, can y'all just let that marinate for a second? Like, these guys who set the foundation for play together, they backed each other, they supported each other.
Yes.
That is a huge ordeal. And if we can just take a little bit of that, just a little bit of that, and bring that back to the front, you know, we would probably go far. Because I'm looking at you, Calvin, at 76, you don't look it, and God has sustained you all these years. Say it again.
I feel it. I tell you too, we had some of the best lead players that I played with.
Okay.
Larry Taylor.
Wow.
Him and I, and then before Larry Taylor, Elder Brown out of South Carolina. You remember Brown, who played the organ?
Yes, I do.
His father used to play with us. And then Larry Taylor, Kenny Ellis.
Kenny Ellis.
Those were the best ones I played with. The best bass player, Chicago Boys. The Lee Boy. My memory, I know who I'm.
Alvin Lee.
Alvin Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were the guys I enjoyed playing with at that time. And then Harvey became one of my favorite. Jay and Ivan.
Okay.
Because we had a connection. When you play, you got to play with somebody that has discipline and a spiritual connection with you.
Well, those are two nuggets. Hold on, let me stop you, Calvin. Discipline and a spiritual connection.
Right.
Did y'all get that? That it's good to connect with musicians who have discipline and a spiritual connection. Keep going, Calvin.
And you got to have a special insight on who's playing and how they play. And like Ivan, he know how to play the drums, that when he hears a certain sound, once he hear it and you go around again, he know how to match or to stop.
Right.
Or when you take a break, he know this is when I take a break, or the lead player or the bass player.
Right.
And then not only that, you got to let them shine also. Because if a guy can pick, you got to let him pick a little bit.
Pick some.
To break the monotony up, not just you playing the steel.
Right.
You know, but when service is going, then everybody now wants to lead. Right. Everybody wants to continue to play fast. Everybody wants everybody to jump. But then you got to stop and play something that's peaceful. Right. Settle people down. You don't know what they're going through with.
Yeah.
Pick a song, something that would touch the whole church.
Demonstrate, Calvin. Can you trade a song that just pop up in your head right now? That if we were in a service and you wanted to kind of slow things down, something to bring their hearts and minds in. What would you play?
Like for instance, if we playing. And that's the stuff you have to do is settle them down. And then if you ever lead, let him lead a little bit too.
Right.
Don't you take it all. Most guys now don't know how to lead. And on the rhythm guitar, some of them. But you have to let them be a part of it and whatnot. And there are occasions where I allowed the bass, hey man, you take it. And you have to break the monotony. And another thing too, I find a lot of young guys be practicing while preachers are talking.
Wow.
While people are talking, they're practicing and playing. And some I feel like is a little disrespectful because you want them to hear that person. I've done it. I've done it. So I'm not telling them not to do something I hadn't done. I've done it.
We all
and
have.
They would tell me, okay, like one bishop, when you just playing with no amp on, he could still hear it, and it made him where he couldn't hardly say what he was saying.
Right.
And so you have to let that person have their moment.
Right.
You know, and you just lay back.
Right.
And not let the people hear you the whole time doing service. When you're not playing at your regular appointed time, you're still practicing.
Right.
And whatnot. You know, you just stop and just enjoy the rest of the service, just like, you know, without practicing all during the whole sermon. And then you got to watch people, especially the bishops. Everybody's different. You have to watch the service. When you're playing, you got to know when to stop. At a spiritual time, know when to play a certain song, like if it's a modern song that's coming up now that they do, then you learn that and play that. They allow you a certain time. Some will cut you off because they want to talk, but you have to realize that this is what they do. And then if some see the spirit going in while you're playing, they'll let you go, you know, but during that time slot, do what you can and then come out of it, you know. Because if I shout all the time, I'll be tired. Matter of fact, I get tired quick now anyway. So I just want to hear something smooth and nice and praise him and watching the people praise him. And this is what I want. This is what I want after service.
Yeah, this is good. This is so good. This is so rich. I hope you all have enjoyed what Calvin really just gave us a free history lesson, if you will, a free music lesson, if you will, to a lot of our young musicians. Before we stop, Calvin, I don't want to keep you forever because we can talk. We can do this all night.
I'm
fine. I want to talk a little bit about your album Heaven. That's one of my favorite albums that you did.
Thank you.
Heaven. What are some of your favorite cuts? I know one of mine is Help Me Make It Through.
Yeah.
And Motor City Preaching Man. Signs of the Judgment.
Wow.
The list goes on and on. I even remember, and I'm taking you back, and I'm sure you remember. And I'm so looking forward to talking more about this with the Campbell brothers. But with they did an album called The Chosen Few. You remember that album?
Oh man, I remember that. We was in the attic at Chuck's house then, I think.
Yes.
I never forget. Matter of fact, I was just looking at that the other day.
Yep.
Wow.
My dad on bass. You.
Yeah.
Of course, the Campbell brothers. You all had a plethora of singers, and it was just a nice album. You did I Feel the Light on that, and it was so nice. The arrangement, everything.
Wow.
It was just you. But tell me about your album. I know you pretty much written all your songs, and the arrangements came from you. Tell me about how all this stuff came to be.
Actually, Robert called me and said, "Hey man, I'm gonna produce an album for you. Get all your songs together, and we're gonna do it in Detroit." So he found a studio downtown.
Okay.
I walked past that place all the time and never knew it was there.
Wow.
And so we went there and we recorded the album. Harvey, Jay, Ivan, and myself,
right,
did the work on it, and so that's how that became. And Robert liked the songs,
wow.
And that's how that became. And so we toured off of that for a good while, the three of us. And then Grace was singing with us too. So we toured for a long time, and went a lot of places off those songs, and we had a good time, man.
And that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin, listen, I'm enjoying this. This is so rich. We're gonna do some more stuff. I'm gonna bring probably some more musicians on.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Next time we do this, and maybe we do more demonstrations. Have you a lead, one of your favorite lead players, one of your favorite drummers, and bass players, and we do some shedding online.
Yeah,
and I would love to do that, but I wanted to bring you on to share you. You've not only been like a father figure to me, but a mentor. You know my family. So you've known me probably before I was even born.
Oh yeah, man. I'm telling you. It's an honor.
And
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed you and Robert last week. It was so inspiring. And I talked to Ted the other day, and he heard a piece of it, and he was encouraged, and he enjoyed it. And I told Robert how much I enjoyed it, because a lot of people don't know what we did, how we did, and what we came up as far as the church's musicians.
That's right.
And whatnot. And it's great to tell your story. It hadn't been easy all the time, but we lived through it, and we learned to keep right on going. And we take this same feeling when we're playing out, and we find out how much people really need God, and how much they enjoy what we do. But through it all, I'm still here. I'm still with my church. I still love our people.
Amen.
And if I'd have made it through the rough time, I might as well stay until I leave, until God take me. So
that's right.
I'm too old to go anywhere else now, so I'll be right here.
But Calvin, you still got it,
working
man.
and doing as best I can.
You still got it. You still have it. I told Robert last week, every time I watch you, I'm learning something new. You amaze me. You do every time.
Wow.
You amaze me by something you do.
Well, thank you.
I'm always gleaning from something that you do. And I want to encourage all musicians and follow that you not so much want to imitate, but you acknowledge that is greater than where you are, and has been where you are, and it's something that you can glean from them to help you better where you are.
And all the musicians play from their heart.
Yes.
One thing, don't be afraid to share, because God shared with you.
Wow.
He didn't close his hand on giving you your talent. So don't close your hand on helping somebody else. And if they like your tune, let them have it, because God gives you other tunes to replace that.
Wow.
And I learned to do that. Bobby Tolliver taught me a lot about being patient, understanding. He used to be one of the musicians that played in the Keith Dominion back then. Mm-hmm. And he spent a lot of time with me, helping me to settle down and watch the church, watch it spiritually, watch the bishops, because you got the ones that are in charge. They have certain movements that they do, certain hand things that they and whatnot. So a lot of things when you're playing, you got to watch and just pay attention. But then when your time comes, be spiritual and strong and prayerful, that somebody be touched from your music, and you'll go a long ways.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this. Thanks for having me. And I
Calvin,
hope we've encouraged somebody. And talking about all the old musicians, I really miss them. I really miss the old good times that we all used to have together.
I do
and
too.
It's not the same, but we still here trying to help each other. And I realize I'm slowing up. It's not the same, a big generational thing now, but I'm grateful to God for blessing me to be a part of the church, a part of the music scene, and blessing me to go all over the world to play this music. And to have a lot of people that encouraged us in our church to stick by us and be prayerful with us. And I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, Calvin, I'm grateful. I probably could sing the sentiments of everybody that's watching. There's so many people that are watching right now, and I'm just honored that they share the same sentiments. You've been that to us and more.
Well, thank you so much.
I
didn't know that, but it's an honor.
Oh, absolutely.
And I am so grateful to each and all the musicians, and to all of us. Let's pray for each other. Let's stand together and work close together with each other and help each other, because we can learn from the young ones, and the young ones can learn from us, so we can all be better. And that's what we're doing. Yeah.
That is right. That is right. Thank you, Calvin. I can't say thank you enough. You've been there. You've been a foundation. And Robert said it. He said it last week. You know, your style, you know, just the things that you do, the precedents that you set, you've laid a foundation.
Thank you so much.
For all of us. And we're still learning from you. You've taught us. You've been a great example to us. Mistakes and all. Mistakes and all. You've been a great example to me. And I'm just so glad that even before my grandfather passed away, you got a chance to spend some time with your buddy. I'm so honored.
Man, he was more than just a friend. We had a bond, a close bond, ever since I was a teenager. And I didn't realize that bond would last all these years until he passed. Boy, and I miss him.
Man, listen, I think I surprised him more than I surprised you, you know, being there with him. Because when he came to the house, he didn't want you to leave. I never saw my grandfather follow anybody to the car to see them off. But you.
Man, I loved him, boy. I always missed him. And when I saw him that time, I was so happy just to be with him. And then we go over old times. Man. And I'm glad I was able to be able to be part of that. And I was so glad that he's been a part of my life and whatnot. And it meant a great deal to me.
Well, you meant a great deal to him. My brother Rico just wrote, he said, Pig love him some Calvin.
And I loved him. And I can't leave your grandmother out, because, boy, she would fix us some food. And me and him would sit in there and watch baseball, watch whatever sport, and we eat. And, man, I'm telling you, your grandmother catered to us, and nobody but me and him sit in that room. I loved it. He's surely missed.
The fellowship.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, man,
I loved it, boy.
Well, he loved you, and we love you. We love you.
Same here.
And I just want to say thank you for coming on. Not only sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge. You know, ladies and gentlemen, Calvin Cooke. This is Calvin Cooke. I really appreciate you. And we will be doing this again. We're gonna do more of this, and I'm gonna with Ted Beard, so we can talk a little bit too.
Nice. That would be very, very good. That'd be very good, man. And God bless you guys, and we, of course, you and I are gonna keep in touch anyway.
Definitely.
All
Definitely.
right, take it easy.
You too. You too.
All right,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
everybody, for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. There's going to be more in weeks to come. So we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you.
Oh, and
Until next time.
continue
Yes,
to pray for the Campbell family
absolutely.
and Chuck and all of
Absolutely.
them, and Chuck and I are like brothers, and Phil and them, and continue to pray for them and all the other people in our church who have lost loved ones that we may not know about. We
Yes.
continue to pray for them. And I lost a brother during this time, and that God would continue to help all of us during this
Amen.
rough and terrible times.
Amen.
Take it easy.
Amen. You too. You too. We love you all.
Love you.